Hey guys, Aaron and Buddy back in the garage. Today we are going to do camshaft timing. It has been a long process, but look at this engine. One thing we really haven't done is just taken a second to appreciate how far we've come. We really have come a long way on our very first ever engine build. And yes, this is the first time either of us have ever built an engine. So thank you to all of you guys who have been following along and leaving nice tips for us in the description of things that we could do better and improve on, or just doing wrong, so we can come back and fix it. So thanks. This is supposed to be a community helping program. So you're helping us, hopefully we're helping you. So with that said, let's get on to the camshaft timing. All right, so where we left off in the last video, we had already put on the chain tensioners, just hand tight. We have not torqued them down yet. At this stage, what we want to do is, well, actually, we probably did torque them down at the last one.
At one point, yeah.
What we want to do, we're only doing this step because it has been a week since we did this, and the oil that we pumped into these has probably come out. And
yeah, as evidenced by
yeah,
some of the things that we
oil on the floor. So what we want is maximum pressure here. Since we're not using the factory tool, we're using the actual chain tensioners instead. So if you're doing this immediately after the last video, you don't need to do this step. We are just refilling the Bank 1 and the IMS chain tensioners with oil. And then we're gonna torque them back down to 80 Newton meters. So
location, Bank 1, right here, IMS, reference, oil, filter. That's the one we're gonna remove, all right?
All right, so just repump those up per the last video, torque them down, and then we will meet you back here. All right, quick pro tip for you if you are redoing this. If you put that one in first, that's the hardest one, and then do this one second. If you try to do that one first, it's gonna be a lot of tension and hard to get that one in. Okay, so just a high-level overview of what we are about to do. We have our cam locking tool here. We actually have a second one down here because I brought mine over today, so we can lock both of them at the same time. We still have our little bridge here holding the cams down as well. So in the simplest terms, all we're gonna do is put these 4 bolts back in, torque them down, and then torque this big bolt down so that these are mechanically locked into place. And then we are going to rotate the engine 360 degrees so that these will turn, but the Bank 2 will not turn. They will stay in place. And then we're gonna tighten those up. And that's all there is to it. All right, we have our 4 brand new bolties. These are the ones that are gonna go into the exhaust cam to hold that into place. And we're getting our torque wrench set up to 14 Newton meters. The E10 external Torx socket. And we're gonna use our handy dandy hose to make sure we do not drop these bolts
That's right.
into the engine.
Because as we know, it's all about the hose.
Deep breaths. Getting flashbacks from the last video. My heart stopping.
14 nummies.
All right, 4 bolts are in, 14 Newton meters. We're gonna torque these up. And again, this holding tool is still in place because it's such low torque. You do not have to worry about damaging your cams, and it's gonna hold it from rotating while torquing. I'm already neglecting my duties.
Good.
All right, these guys are torqued.
Oops.
This good. Okay, so
and I just do a
safety check. All right, so our next step is going to be torquing the big intake camshaft, and that one gets a lot of torque. So in the process, we're going to leave this on just for the initial torquing so that it doesn't rotate as we get it a little bit taut. Then we're going to remove that, and if you don't remove that and you try to do the full torque, you can snap off the end of your camshaft.
Which is totally fine because you can buy a brand new one for a couple thousand bucks.
I mean, it's not the end of the world. All right, this is a very important tool that you will need in order to do this. Comes in a case of all the other parts. If you've been following along, you've probably already bought this. I'll put a link to it. You can get them on Amazon. They're not bad. So if you remember this little nut here that we put on before the bolt, it just spins freely in here. What this tool does real quickly is it just goes over that nut, and this piece is shaped the same, you rotate it, as where the scavenge oil pump goes. So you can see that it lays right here nicely, and the purpose of it is just to absorb all of the force as you are tightening this bolt. So what you want to do is you're going to have a, what did we decide, 16 millimeter?
Yes, this is a 16 millimeter.
So you got a 16 millimeter socket that can fit through there and go over your bolt. All right, so to tighten the intake cam, we still have it super loose like this with no torque on it. What we are gonna do is we're gonna go to 25 Newton meters on it with the locking tool still in place back here, just so that we can get the nut lined up, because this is the tool that you use to tighten it. You can still stick your 16 millimeter through there to get it a little bit tightened. So once the nut is in the right place, we're just gonna go to 25.
We remove the tool to allow this to move, because if you keep the tool, this nut is gonna stay within the slot of the tool.
Yeah, so the tool has a little slop, so what we learned is that if you just go to 25 Newton meters here, the locking tool is gonna keep the cam from moving. That is just enough torque to lock it into place with the diamond washer that's in there, yet that nut can still spin freely for a little while as you're starting to torque this up. So now we use a 6 millimeter hex just to tighten up the bottom of the tool. And you can see that there's still a tiny bit of play in there like that. So that's about as close as you can get it right now. But the next step is we're gonna remove the locking tool from the back, and we're gonna apply the torque that the book specifies, which is 50 Newton meters. So without the locking tool in there, we're gonna use this other tool on this side, give it the 50 Newton meters of torque it asks for, and we found that that allows this nut here to rotate just a tiny bit and make the tool tight up against the side here. And that is what that tool right there is what's going to absorb all of the torque that we apply when we do the big 110-degree tightening. All right, we are going to remove that from the back now, and with this tool still in, we're going to go to 50 Newton meters.
Yep. Take this off. Nice and tight.
And we will witness mark this guy with its first mark. It's got its initial 50 Newton meter torque. All right, so we just rotated the engine down. This is bank one, the one that we got our first initial 50 Newton meters on here, and those are torqued. We're not gonna do the degrees of torque, the one that actually stretches the bolt yet, until we tighten up the ones on bank two. So for bank two, we're leaving our locking tool in there, and then we're gonna come around and we're going to remove the pin and rotate the engine 360 degrees. so again, what that's going to do is these Bank 1 cams are going to rotate now because they are tightened and mechanically attached to everything, whereas our Bank 2 are going to be loose, and you'll see that the chain will go around, but these will just spin and our cams will not move because the locking tool is still on there, and that's how you get them 360 degrees out of phase, which is what we want. So go ahead and
okay, so a couple of
super
important things, right? Rotate it only
clockwise.
Only clockwise. Rotate it 360 degrees. Do not back up. Creep up on this, right? And Aaron's going to be looking to creep up on this. If for some reason you miss the 360 degrees, you have to rotate it 720 degrees, which is 360 twice, to get it back into the proper position. All right? You ideally don't want to do that. All right, so Aaron's going to be in charge of the pin. I'm going to be in charge of the rotation, and you're going to tell me what I'm creeping up.
Clockwise. And so once we start rotating it, we should see that this chain is rotating, and you can see that our cams over here are obviously not rotating. And if we come over to this side, we should see that our cams are rotating. So everything is going well. It should feel tighter than it's ever felt when you're rotating it, but it should still be able to turn.
We're doing this super slow. Here's our initial marker coming in. Aaron, you've got the
pin on standby.
All right. This is the point where we're going to do it real.
So we got to get this notch all the way over here still. So we still got a long way to go.
Sorry, I was looking at this hole. Get really nervous. I prefer not to have to do it 720 degrees. All right, I'm going to move this so it's out of your way. It's a preferred place to be. All right.
All right, we're going to rotate this. I'll have this ready to be in the hole. And feel for the hole. Keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going. I feel it almost there. Keep going. There we go. Locked into place.
Woo! That was stressful.
All right, so if everything goes well, these holes, again, are going to be right in the middle of these slots. So that's what we wanted. That is beautiful. The other benefit of having the engine on the side, which is where we'll leave it from now on, is that if you drop those, they won't fall in the engine. So we probably should have done that on Bank 1, but whatever. Here's Bank 2. We're going to put our bolts in here and torque them to 14 Newton meters. All right, and again, since it was just last week before we did this, we are going to remove this chain tensioner again, and we're going to repump it up to make sure it's got the full torque against the chain going on there so that we can torque these up properly. So we'll just remove this tensioner and pump it up, put it back in, torque it to 80 Newton meters. All right, so inside this, behind the scenes here, we went to pump this thing back up and it fell apart. So the way these work, apparently, I just learned, is this little cotter pin that goes through here is what holds the pieces together. So you can see that ridge there. The cutter pin is supposed to hold this here so that it can't come out past that ridge. If the cutter pin wears down, this one is like really flat looking and not doing its job, this will come apart. So we meant to replace these anyway. This is expediting our replacement. So probably a good reason to replace all of your tensioners.
Yes.
All right, now we are coming over to Bank 2, and we're gonna do pretty much the exact same thing. This is where our tensioner goes. Conrad's got that over there. We are filling it with fluid to make sure that it is gonna be nice and tight. We're gonna replace it in here, put it at 80 Newton meters, and then continue to tighten up the bolts on the cams. All right, so this is lots of fun to get started as usual. Oh, did a Pretty good job there.
Once you do about 20 of them. All right, I need the torque wrench.
And we're going to 80 Newton meters.
Yep.
All right, next up, we're going to take our 4 little E10 bolts and we're going to put them in here with our nicely lined up in the middle holes. Yeah. All right, we're going to witness mark that guy. And again, these are 14 Newton meters. All right, now our exhaust cam is locked into place and we're gonna work on our intake cam up here. So on bank 2, we're gonna do the exact same thing we did over on bank 1. We're gonna put our tool there. We're gonna get it tight up against the where the oil pump goes. We're gonna just get a tiny bit of torque on there, and then we're gonna do our made up numbers of 25 Newton meters. That's just a complete arbitrary number.
Yep. It was just tight enough to get this diamond washer thing. See it tightens up.
All right, we are going to remove that from the back now, and with this tool still in, we're going to go to 50 Newton meters.
Sure. Yep. Take this off. Nice and tight.
And we will witness mark this guy with its first mark. It's got its initial 50 Newton meter torque.
The timing is done.
Yes, timing all complete. Now we are going back over to bank 1. We are putting that holding tool in there, making sure that the holding tool from the other side is removed. Nothing over there so we don't break our cams. And the second step of tightening this is 110 degrees. So this is the part that stretches that bolt. So if you do this and you have to undo it for any reason after this, you're supposed to replace that bolt. So make sure everything is good to go, and 110 degrees. Beautiful. Now we can put a second mark on there. All right, witness mark number 2. Now we go back to bank 2 and do the exact same thing.
All right.
All right, so if we did step 1 correctly, it should be fairly tight fit. And
Oh, there it is.
and we use the 6mm again to tighten up the bottom, making sure that your locking tool is not there, obviously, and then another 110 degrees. All right, so our blue mark is starting out there. We're gonna go 110 degrees with our torque wrench.
Righty tighty, lefty loosey. That was 90. There you go.
All right, now we can take our tool off. nice and tight. And 110 degrees later, we're gonna put our second witness mark on. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and check our work. The way we're gonna do that is we're gonna rotate the engine several times from the crank, and then we're going to make sure that the tool still fits in. And if it does, then that means everything went well. So right now it's phased for bank 2. So we're gonna rotate it an odd number of times, a bunch of times. You can do like 5, 7, 9, whatever. As long as it's an odd number, that'll put bank 1 back in phase. So we're gonna rotate it 7 times. And after 7 times, all of everything has moved around enough to let us know if something went wrong. So go ahead and pull the pin. Obviously, you should not have ever reinstalled the holders back here because that will break your cams. So in and only a clockwise rotation, follow our arrows. We're gonna go around 7 times.
And we're gonna watch for any mechanical.
Yeah, make sure that it, so this will be the toughest it's been to turn the engine yet. But as we're doing it,
That was 1.
both of our,
You can see the grease.
both of our sets of cams are moving along now. Yep, so if you missed greasing any of your lobes, now's a good time. You get access to everything.
It's getting easier. 2.
We got number 2.
3.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
Nothing's hitting.
Yeah, we got the other side of the crank turning over here.
4.
Nice.
5.
'Sounds like a flat 6.
6. All right, here we go. Coming in.
And if you go too many times, you can go 9. It doesn't really matter. Just don't back up. All right, moment of truth. You take the tool. Oh, like we've done this before or something. Yes, victory.
Look how nice this freaking thing. That has got to put a smile on your face.
So if yours does not do that,
You're not as good as we are. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know what to tell you because I don't know how to fix it. No. So I guess what would happen is you would need to loosen these again and
Go through the timing
line
procedure.
this up, tighten them down again, and yeah, start all over. So in that case, you would technically want to replace the main bolt that holds the exhaust cam in because it's been stretched now.
Yes.
But yeah, okay, so now we're going to rotate it one more time to be a total of 8 times so that we can put the tool in here and check over here. We can't check now because this is out of phase for this bank, so the tool won't fit in because the slots are offset.
Yep, you want to film how these moons are smaller here. That's how you tell. The smaller moons are in the top, the bigger moons are in the bottom, which allows the tool, you know, which is set up for that, to go in. So
yes, we mentioned that in another video, but in case you haven't watched the whole series, A, what's wrong with you? B, give this a thumbs up while we're here. And C, yeah, here we go. So we're going to rotate this one more time.
We've removed the tool.
Yes.
Place the tool yonder.
Remove our pin. And one more 360-degree rotation.
I'm so happy. No.
All right. Come to the back of bank 2 and
please God, please Jesus.
Dear sweet baby Jesus, please let this tool fit.
There it is.
Oh, I'm gonna call it a W. Yeah, as long as you can, without too much crazy force, get that thing to fit, you are good to go. One big old giant engine, timed and pretty much assembled. So that's how you guys,
Fire up.
That's how you guys do it. All right, so in the next video, we're gonna go ahead and remove these little tools on the inside, put our covers on, and get it all closed up. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. See you there.